We're here.
We are. So, welcome. Normally I do a clap and make a formal introduction. You think I should do that right now?
Absolutely.
All right, welcome to the show, guys. What's kicking in here? I am live in the studio today, in person with Lori Rehn. For those of you that don't know her, she is a top-tier Apex executive. She's a business owner. She is soon to be an author, and she is a coach, and man, just a wonderful all-around human. My entire demeanor lit up when she walked in the door this morning. So, Laurie, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Sam. I'm super happy to be here.
Appreciate
that lovely introduction as well. And your demeanor. That's always good to have a good demeanor.
Interviewing in person is just so much more fun.
Yeah, I agree.
Doing it over Zoom's good and everything else, but man, actually having somebody physically in the room, it's always more fun. So hopefully we have a really good conversation today and put out a good show. Man, I don't even know where to begin with you because you've torn it up in the industrial sector. Mm-hmm. You're an investor now. You're a philanthropy coach, all kinds of people. Tell us, let's just start at the beginning, man. Who's Laurie and how on earth did you get where you're at?
Oh, that's a loaded question.
That's what I do.
You asked a deep question.
We load questions here. You knew that coming in.
You knew that. So just to start, I got into industrial supplies and industrial products right after college. I always knew I needed to work for myself. Didn't really like anybody telling me what to do. So I went straight into sales. Did great in sales, was a top producer, went into management, top manager, and then, you know what, I don't want to work for somebody else, so I started my own company with a couple other people. Grew that to a very nice sized company, sold a bunch of commercial property, took a tiny little break, started a business coaching company in 2013, still have that, and then in 2015 wanted a product company as well, so I started another industrial products company. Realized that would take too long to build, and so I bought a failing company, and that's where I learned a bunch of shit. Oh yes. Now, a lot of people go that route. They go through, expansion through acquisition, so to speak. Man, I'm super interested in that failing company and just a little bit of background on that, how you turned it around, because you're coming into that with 20 years business experience, and now you're coming in, putting in your own systems and processes and everything else. So walk me through that real quick. Well, that was the best and worst decision I've ever made in my life. It was failing for a reason. It is interesting that I knew the industry inside out, but the business I had built, the previous industrial supply business I built from the ground up, and we pretty much did everything right the first time. Sheer dumb luck. I wish I could take credit for that, but it was just dumb luck. We were great at sales. We were effective. It was a blessing. I buy this other company, and I never knew a company, it had been around for over 30 years. Mm-hmm. I never knew a company could be around that long, still produce numbers and have a little bit of profit, and be so effed up. Legit. Everything was a disaster. I've worked for companies like that. I worked for a company just out of high school, and they had about a £40 million a year turnover, and they struggled to make profit on £40 million. And it turned out there was more things going out the back door than there was the front door, and there was a whole bunch of issues. What did you see the main issues were how do you survive for 30 years Well, they didn't have any leadership from the top, which I knew coming in. So I knew, hey, I just need to get in and be present and participate in the business. And so I did. But the biggest thing in the company I own is all the outside sales reps. So it was a company that was struggling. And prior to me coming in and purchasing it, and then I just purchased the assets. I didn't purchase liability, just the assets. Everybody was kind of picking off the top employees, the top sales reps. And so I came into a team that was really good, but didn't have direction. Right. And in addition to, the office wasn't run well, inventory wasn't under control, they had no control over shipping costs. It was a lot going out the back door to find out later. The good thing was for my coaching business, I never knew that businesses could be that messed up. And so now by experiencing it firsthand, I have a better appreciation for when I work with coaching clients. Oh, hey, now I've also been through that. I haven't just read about it. I've experienced it, and I've experienced the turnaround. So we turned it around in about 2 years. We got it up and running. I had to jump in full time. I never expected to do that. I thought I would have it as a another revenue stream.
Right.
I never expected to jump into it. Word to the wise, don't buy a failing business.
don't buy a failing business and expect not to work on it.
Expect not to work on it 60, 70 hours a week.
It's failing for a reason.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
But you're just one of these unique people that's just not scared to roll up their damn sleeves and do the work, So I mean, it's not that much of a deal for you. But what? Excuse me. Fundamentally, though, what were some of the biggest issues that you tackled in turning that around once you got the labor force dialed in? Because, as a business owner that's looking to expand, I like companies like that because I can go and get their top sales guys that aren't happy where they're at. Mm-hmm. And the Yankees, they don't win world championships shopping off a Craigslist. Mm-hmm. They go and get the best players from the other teams. So what was the next real thing that you did in turning the company around?
One, just diving in myself and spending a lot of time building up the team, flying around the country to be with all my team members so that they know I cared and they wouldn't jump ship.
Right.
If there's an offer somewhere else, the real estate world, how every other office is offering a $50,000 sign on this sign on that sign. Well, that kind of thing happens everywhere, correct?
Yeah.
And so I needed to keep my team. I needed to reestablish all the SOPs in the office. That was hard. When you have a group of individuals used to doing what they want when they want, making their own decision because it was the best decision, it was the easiest decision at the time. Trying to corral that in is very difficult. But we've done it, and we're 6 years into this company now, and 6.5 now. And that was probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do, was reinforce the boundaries and then just be consistent. This might be easier right now, but it's not the best long-term decision for the corporation and for us to grow. And then we had COVID right as we started turning everything around.
I was about to ask about surprises. What surprises have you run into along the way?
I got decades of experience, and you cannot ever plan for everything that's going to happen. And there we go talking.
Show of hands. Who planned for a pandemic?
Yeah, exactly. And we got fortunate. We sold. Yeah. We were deemed essential because we had sanitizers and hand sanitizers, disinfectants. We were carrying PPE. I was able to pivot really quickly, jump in and buy a bunch of masks and gloves at the beginning, and that kept my team really busy.
Yeah.
The hardest part for my sales team is they were all outside sales reps.
Oh, yeah.
And then spending a year behind a phone, I legit thought they were all going to lose their minds. I'm not kidding. They were crawling out of their skin because they're used to being like we are here, sitting with their client, talking about what else they can bring to the table. How else can we solve a problem? And during COVID, everybody was just in a full-on panic. And there wasn't this.
Right, it's so much harder to do via Zoom. I mean, Zoom has been an incredible blessing, but it still doesn't make up for that personal interaction, that feeling between people that they need to generate the know, like, and trust that we all look for to close a sale. Surprisingly, COVID was, initially it was a hit, obviously, but surprisingly it was a huge benefit to both my businesses and the way they run. Did you find that after the initial shock had relented, that COVID was a benefit? Did you come out of that better or worse?
Oh, better. And it was on all levels. One, financially we were in the right place at the right time to really be able to help our clients and then keep my sales team busy. The second thing was me personally. I had started to let go of some of the controls, and I found that my internal staff, was kind of doing whatever they wanted because I wasn't on site. I was starting to pull back, not on site all the time, and so I took back control over everything and filled all the holes that were in the ship, which I would not have noticed had it not been for me having to have my butt at my desk every day because I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't go out in the field, and I couldn't visit clients. I couldn't visit customers.
Captive audience.
I had no choice, and we were so busy. I had to take the helm. There was a point where we were trying to get the masks in from China. Because that's where they were coming from.
Right.
And I actually had huge clients with the Navy, with MIT, Boston College, all over the place calling me. I told the sales reps, they call me directly because the customers were so frustrated waiting for their product and wondering, is this there was all the fraud going on. So I would at one point I had up the Navy. I think I was on the 8th level of chain of command, calling me just to say, hey, we're just checking in. Is this cool? Like the first guy's in a panic because he's getting it every day. As you go up the chain of command, they were a lot calmer when they spoke to me. But I'm like, I have these, I don't know the levels in the Navy because they call themselves sir at that point at some levels. But they were saying, they were just calling to check in. But everybody had my cell phone. All my clients. And so all of the sales reps clients that wanted to talk to me could. And I think that really helped us a lot. And it helped me find out where the holes are. What can I do better? What can the company do better? So the end of 2020 was great. I'm going to take you into 2021 because why not?
Why not?
Why not? Supply chain.
Oh, God, yes. Yes.
You know, you cannot make up what has been going on this year or last year. But I was talking to Drew Lane. He's also an executive, and he does a lot in the retail space, branding, T-shirts, caps. He does a lot more than I know. Super great guy. He and I were discussing supply chain last week, and we both decided we would rather go back to 2020. Like seriously, when you have a tangible product, this year it's been another adventure. It's been a great opportunity to grow. Had to do a lot of personal digging deep to just be calm because my sales team don't get paid unless the product ships. Unless if the product can't ship, we can't pay on non-shipped product. We don't know if we're getting it.
Right.
And so at the end of the day, I've had to really just kind of chill out, listen, let them vent, come up with more solutions, communicate more. Like I think I tell everybody what's going on, and then someone will call and say, "Hey, Lori, what's going on? You haven't been communicating." And I'm like, "Okay, fair enough. I mean, I get it."
There's all these plates, and you just got to keep them all spinning, though. It's, I mean, like, I can't imagine the length of your to-do list every day. And then you've got to make phone calls, and then your cell phone rings as well. I mean, it's got to be busy. Earlier on, I was listening to a podcast. Jocko was on Joe Rogan's podcast. And Jocko now is manufacturing stuff himself up in the Northeast and using US-based suppliers to feed his manufacturing plants. What do we do as a country to bring back our supply chain to this side of the ocean and to start leaning more and more into American manufactured products?
That is the number one question. If you could solve that problem, that would be wonderful.
Well, shit, I'll solve it. Let's go.
I totally agree. How do you have to get off the dependency of China?
But for the last 40 years, China's been making stuff $10 a unit cheaper than America, and it's almost like we've lost the machinery, like we've lost the knowledge. Like we're 1 to 2 generations away from forgetting how to make shit.
Yep.
How do we fix that?
It's crazy. Well, you got to bring back in the schools. You have to bring back the trades because we're missing the trades. I deal with all maintenance guys. So electrical, plumbing, roofing, concrete, all that. And the workforce is older and older. There's not a lot of young kids coming in to learn these trades. And we really need to get back to that for sure. It's always college, right? Get a degree.
Is that so you have more value in the marketplace, or is that so you have more value now to the people that hold the student loans? Like, I really start to wonder.
That's a good question.
I do wonder why, as a country, the first thing we do with all of our major potential talent is saddle it with a lifetime's worth of debt. Like, how do we fix that?
You are asking me some tough questions on a Monday morning. Good Lord, Sam.
You're the smart one in the room. Come on.
I don't know. I think you might be the smarter one in the room.
All right.
These are really good questions, and how do you get the dialogue started? I think that's part of the issue is nobody wants to talk about it because they don't want to make the tough decisions. Like, I'm not a close the border, be totally just insular into America in the United States of America, but we have to be more independent.
Think of it like the airplane. You got to put your own face mask on first. Like you can't sugarcoat it. If you pay attention to independent news sources, like there's a little bit of turmoil going on. People like yourself, supply chain issues. Like, what do we do to fix it? Like as a country, and I don't think the answer is bury our head in the sand and hope it goes away. Because the way the country's being run right now is either deliberate or incompetent, and I can't see it being incompetence, to be fair. So I think we could deliberately lean back into manufacturing and education. However, let's move past that. I mean, I don't know. Just throw you in some deep water, should you swim or not? Let's let's move past the education of the college kids. Let's look towards the education of entrepreneurs, because you've been teaching entrepreneurs the way of Miss Laurie since what, 2013?
In coaching, yep.
Coaching, yeah. Tell us a little bit about the coaching side of you and some of the things you see in some of your clients that maybe would relate to the listeners of the show, so they could draw some lessons from it.
Okay, I'm gonna go straight to the heart of the matter, which nobody wants to hear. I'm a business coach, and so we work on sales, marketing, SOPs, the human resources on a surface level. I don't get into the minutia of anyway, social media.
Who wants to get in the minutia of
human resources?
You hire a human resources guy and you tell him to do his job.
Yeah, well, because it's so complicated.
Yes,
and
it's
it's ever changing. We always start there, and I do a big, deep dive on strategy. What's your strategic plan? Where do you want to go? At the end of the day, none of it works unless you work on yourself.
Oh,
I know. Nobody wants to hear it. So when I'm first working with my clients, we go through we have a one-on-one for at least an hour just talking about how business coaching works. And I always save a little tiny bit at the end, and I say, okay, the soft skills are going to come up, and every business owner without a doubt, yeah, that's not me. And I agree 100%. And I say, but remember, we probably are going to get into some of this, the soft skills and some of this personal development and more about you. And that's okay whenever you get there. And without a doubt, until that work is done, then the business can thrive and be effective. But man, once you do the inner work, everything is just better.
But it's like,
everything.
That's like a message that I want everybody listening to hear and understand and spread. Because I had been a successful entrepreneur, and one of the reasons I lost my most profitable company ever was because I hadn't done the inner work. But I don't know about women, but from a male perspective, we're raised to carry everything and keep our mouths shut and get our heads down and do the work and never admit any kind of weakness or any kind of, impending failure, never talk about past failures. We're told to keep that all bottled up. And, for me, it was doing the personal work that has led me through the other side of that. Do you find there's a lot of resistance to leaning into the I don't want to say woo-woo because everybody says that, but leaning into the mindset coach? You find you get resistance from that? Because, dude, I resisted it for like years because I was scared of what other people would think about me for meditating or for going for a walk in the woods or for journaling and writing down things that I'm grateful for. Do you find resistance to that in business owners, or are they mainly accepting?
Yes. Resistance. That's why I always start, even though I know it's going to get to more on the personal development side, and that's why I've gone and done a lot of certifications to learn more and dive more deep. That it always starts in business, because if you're going to go deep with someone and you're going to get into the personal development, if you're not ready, you have to be guided and you have to be with someone that you trust to bring up some of those issues, to start talking about, hey, yeah, we had this plan and none of it got done. Well, as your coach, I'm not here to beat you up or to tell you, I'm here to hold your feet to the fire and to nudge you in the right direction, but I'm not here to put you down or say, hey, you're just not doing that right. That's not my job. My job is to say, okay, what's happening and how can we improve on this? How can we make a tweak to the plan so you can still reach your goal, but maybe a little bit slower, but let's keep that focused. And as soon as someone starts to open up and we start to go to the deeper levels of personal development and what's happening in their life, then all the gloves are off and everything just comes together more, I don't want to say more quickly, but more seamlessly. And it depends on the individual too, on how quickly they are willing to hold that knowledge in, that is, the sooner I'm able to improve myself, accept myself how I am, love myself how I am, believe in who I am, address any of the outside crap that goes on in life and your upbringing and the people you're around.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're in a bad relationship, how do you work through that? Can you improve it? Do you just have to let it go? There's so much, but nobody wants to touch that stuff at first.
Right,
not
because
at first.
They don't see it as critical to operating a profitable business.
Correct, 100%.
And it really is. It really is. Like,
yep.
Because if you're not like, this is hard. Winning is hard. It's bloody. It's brutal. It's a lot of fucking work. And if you're not in good physical shape, if you can't take care of yourself, how can you take care of your business? If you're not in good mental shape, how can you focus on your things that need focused on? How can you focus on working on a business if there's shit in the back of your mind that's distracting you all the time? And most guys don't realize this. They think, I'm going to carry this load, I'm going to keep it inside of me. Business is business, life is life, and I'm keep them separate. But when you're trying to crack through that next level of success, business is life. And life is business, and you've got to do it all together at the same time. You've got to find time for your kids, you've got to find time to work out, you've got to find time to eat right, and you've got to make life a priority around your business and within it. I don't know where I was going with that.
That's okay, because I'm going to take you to the next level.
Go for it.
So it's all energy, and we're all connected with everything.
Hold on. Let me get my crystals. Hold on, let me grab a crystal.
Oh my God, I love crystals. Where are your crystals? Where's the candles?
I don't
Oh my
have any
gosh,
crystals.
maybe the chimes. Don't do that. That's not nice. I can see we're going to go crystal shopping after this, Sam. There has to be some in this town.
There's probably it's probably a crystal shop.
Yeah. So it's the truth. We're all connected all the way around. So like you were talking about walking in nature, meditating. I actually take the time to meditate daily where I connect myself with the earth. And then I also connect all the way up to source power is what I call it from the training that I've had, which is beyond the heavens and above. So you could call it God, whatever works for you. For me, it literally is like a beam of light going just to the heavens. And I get into a trance and it feels so good and it helps me sort out problems. And when I'm really overwhelmed, I have someone that I know, like, and trust to guide me through like some really deep work to let go of any baggage I have so I can be present, be happy, give the best I can to everybody else. And I totally believe we're all energy. That's why we like this better. We like to be together and have a conversation rather than a Zoom call or a phone call. This is a better exchange of ideas. And I believe everybody's like that, whether they want to accept it or not. And once you just kind of let go and say, it is what it is, and we all are connected on some level, because it's the truth. It's just interesting how much once you let those boundaries go in your mind, how much more you can learn and grow. And that's what happens when you do the personal development work. And I'll really go deep. Let's go into the metaverse, which is coming.
As far as what you just said, though, I've been to church many times, and I've read many books about the thing, and I'm just a firm believer that we are, whether the Bible's right or the Quran's right, I think there's right stuff in every religion. I think the underlying factor is we're just immortal balls of energy piloting meat costumes right now. The energy is who we are. The consciousness is who we are. And then when you tie that in with, I watched some super interesting documentaries on fungus. There's one on Netflix just come out, a new one. And there's this mycelium layer that connects all the plants through fungus. And that's why when you sit on the earth, that's why you feeling that energy coming back out of that layer there. And like, for me, just discovering this over the last, course of the last year, this figuring out that, hey, we're just bits of energy, and hey, there's an entire like network of energy that's spread beneath our feet. I'm like, shit, maybe these hippies are onto something. All right, take me into the metaverse. Man.
Oh, I don't know much about that. I just brought that up for fun. Talk about Facebook right now. They're meta.
Well, hold on.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go completely off the fucking rails.
Let's go with it.
I think that the metaverse is actually now it's going to make us immortal. We're the first generation that will live absolutely for fucking ever. And here's why I believe that. Facebook has now 12 or 13 years of my life. Every messenger conversation I've had, every post I've made, every reaction I've made, Facebook's AI is smart enough to figure out what I would say in a room if I wasn't there. It's got to be. It's got 13 years of me typing fuck and everything else.
Right.
It knows when I'm going to swear. Like the AI can do that.
Oh yeah.
So then we go to the metaverse. And we're in the metaverse, and I've got an avatar, and it looks just like me, and it's got my mannerisms, and it acts like me. Every conversation I have within the metaverse, the AI is going to be there in the background going, okay, this is how Sam reacts, this is what he thinks about this, what he thinks about that. And the AI is going to be continually learning who I am. So that when I die, my avatar can still exist. And all of my personality can exist within it, and all of my intelligence. And it can even add facts that I didn't know, and have me present those facts in a way that I would have talked about them. Like, I don't know why nobody's talking about this, but I think we might just be immortal now. Like, not this bit, not the meat suit,
Right.
but our intelligence and our mannerisms could be sold back to our relatives for $200 a month, and you put your VR goggles in, and you talk.
There you go. You're talking to your family.
To your dad. You're
Yeah.
talking to somebody that had the last. Let's say they've got 12 years of life on Facebook, and then they're 5 years in the metaverse, and you've been talking, and the AI owns all that data. Like, why can't you go and have a conversation with an AI with a relative that is that relative completely uploaded into that AI? We're at that point. We're there. And like, well, shit, is that a singularity? Because if I exist in AI, where does my soul go?
Oh,
shit.
now we're getting deep. Oh,
Like,
jeez.
no, but it's there. The
Yeah.
data's there.
Yeah.
The data's there. Like, and then I go and have conversations in the metaverse, and then my avatar exists. Then they upload the data from Facebook to my avatar. And then I die, and the AI takes over.
Yep.
And I exist in the metaverse forever. That's fucked up.
Yeah. A part of you exists.
Because if part of me exists in the metaverse, where does this part of me go after I die?
I know.
Oh, shit. I don't know. Like, I wasn't planning to get all, like, whatever the word is, theological shit. I don't know the word. I wasn't planning to get that deep. But you've got to start asking questions.
Yeah.
And then, you know, what governments are going to restrict access to the metaverse? Because there's going to be restrictions on it. Even now, China has restrictions on the amount of time you can spend online every day, the amount of time spent in video games. Well, if I've got a version of my life that exists online that's better than the life I have at home, what's my incentive to go to work? Why would I not live off universal basic income, which appears to be right around the corner?
Yeah, it does.
And spend all my time in the metaverse, living this amazing life through a VR headset? I don't know.
There's science fiction all about that.
I mean, I can't.
It's not so science fiction anymore.
I mean, I probably could, but I wouldn't. I was going to say I can't sleep with a porn star in real life. I probably could, but I wouldn't. But in the metaverse, you can scroll through and be like, I want that one today. And it could just be, it could work the same way with the girls, you know. I want that fella today. And like, all the time, you're sitting there at the house with a headset on and a fucking groin attachment or whatever. I have to talk to Corey Bayer about what's coming down the line there. But like, you're just sitting at the house and you live in a reality that's better than life.
Yep.
Well, shit, if I've got a video game that's better than life,
Why would you leave
why
the
would
house?
I leave the house?
Okay, see, and now you're going to be in the pods that are in the Matrix,
Well,
right?
shit.
You could live in there and just...
That's what, I don't know.
You got to go watch the Matrix now. You got to watch the new one.
Dude, they put a tube in your mouth, they put one tube in your butt, and they put the video screen on.
You're good.
What the, well, how do we get to this point in the interview? Like, I wasn't planning on that, but like, you've really got to ask, like, where in the world is this going? Maybe we just got the opportunity to become immortal, and maybe we shouldn't take it. I don't know. I keep thinking I want to get in that metaverse thing, but I'm scared that if I go in, I'll never come out.
Yep, I'm with you.
know?
Well, because you can make up anything in your mind. If you can have when you have the opportunity to make up whatever you want, why would you go negative? You may as well just have everything positive, like your porn star. Every day you could have a new one.
Yeah.
Right? And then every night you could have another one.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You could have a good day. All
Shit,
day.
I'd wear out the lifetime warranty on that thing in 3 months.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean,
But
jeez.
you know what? You can grow another one. Might be bigger and better.
I got nothing.
I got tears. And this is what we
We
discuss
almost
on
cried,
Small
like-
Business Surgeon on a Monday morning.
It is, though, you know, like we are literally crying in our studio now. I've had guests cry on the podcast before, but never from laughing. All right. So moving out of the metaverse, then, God, that metaverse is just so interesting. I think there's
It's
going to be
fascinating.
fortunes to be made,
Oh.
and lost in there.
Yeah, well, you know, you can buy, there are people actually selling land and
Yeah.
space, if you will, now. There
Alright.
are brokers that are
Right, but
selling land in the
what I
metaverse.
want to figure out, right? Like, there's going to be money in the metaverse. There's going to be
course.
profit to be made.
Money everywhere.
Like, yeah. So why aren't we setting up a virtual casino and letting people come in and gamble in the metaverse? Like, I would. Like, that seems to make the most sense. What makes the most money in the real world for the least expense? I don't know, gambling. Like, you know, and if you want to make the most money in gambling, be the house. Like, all right, so we
Be the
set
house.
we
Yeah.
set up a casino in the metaverse. I don't know. There's so much you could do. Like car dealerships selling made-up cars with NFTs in them. It's unreal the amount of money in there. I wish I understood it better.
That's the hard part.
Probably just gonna give it to my kids and be like, right, you'll go on there. Here's $5,000. Go make me some money. Like that's.
And they probably
They will. Yeah, they will, man.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's time I got a return on that investment.
Too funny.
No, they bring me joy.
Yes, of course they do.
I mean, but yeah, you got to get a joke in at the expense of your kids. How do we get this back on business
I
now?
don't
We've
know.
gone all over the place.
Well, that's the whole point. Freestyle, let's just go.
Yeah, I used to write down a bunch of questions and script these interviews, and now I just don't. This
Yeah.
is way more fun.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
This is way more fun. So I want to go a little bit into it with you about when shit goes wrong. Because
Okay.
I don't believe you just opened a box and were successful. I think you've been through some fire to get hardened into the anvil. And I know there's a lot of guys listening to this that aren't quite over that hump yet. And they're still shit.
Describe the hunt.
The hump. The hump.
Describe the hump.
The hump.
We know guys in the hunt.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
describe
God,
guys
yes.
in the hump.
I mean, you know, you can tell when Apex meetings are going on by keeping a close eye on the rubber prices.
Yeah.
But we'll yeah.
Oh, yeah. Getting over the hump.
Getting over
What
the
do you
hump.
mean?
The
Okay.
hump of excuse me. That hump from shit I gotta make rent, shit I gotta make
Right.
payroll to okay, things are going well. There's money in the operating account. There's money in the savings account. There's money in the payroll account. Everything's good. How many times, or did you? I mean, because some guys, they'll hit it every single month and struggle, and some guys, it might be once or twice a year, and they're like, damn, we're back right here again.
Yep.
How many times did you go through that cycle before you got to the other side of it?
So until I bought the failing company, I didn't really go through that cycle. And
Okay.
that's because I've always I don't know where it came from, but I've always been fiercely independent and knew that I had to take care of business however it had to be taken care of. Invested first.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that I'm not a big spender. Stuff isn't important to me. Like, if I want to go buy something, I can go buy it, but I don't care about stuff. I care about
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
experiences in life.
Yes.
I care about investments. And fortunately, I felt like that always. And because of that mindset, which I don't know where it came from, because I've always had to take care of myself. So because I grew up in that environment of making sure I was financially stable on my own, which as a child, when my parents made me pay for everything, it made me angry, of course. As an adult, I'm like, oh, thank God I have that foundation, because my sister didn't have that foundation. And while she's got a good job, she's not as doesn't have the same type of outlook like I do, like invest first.
Yeah,
invest
yeah, I
first.
mean-
Yeah, and I think that was helpful. After buying a failing company and having to learn a lot, not being able to pay myself well for probably 3 years, I barely paid myself till I got that company back on track. I was in a position where I could do that, fortunately. But what I share with every business owner I work with, everything is a cycle. Every single thing. You're going to go up, you're going to go down. You're going to go up, you're going to go down. It's just the way it is. So when you're on the high, when you're on the upswing, write it down. Make sure that you appreciate all the wins and how good you feel and how great everything is. Because when the shit hits the fan and you're going back down into the deep,
Yep.
you want to be able to look back on that and say, okay, I've done this before. Because if your friends are telling you and your family's telling you, you don't care. You're like, fuck you. You don't know what I'm going through right now. It's so hard. It's so hard. I can't get back out of this. But that's not true. You can
No.
and you will. You've done it before.
Oh, yeah.
And that's...
Yeah.
So it's like the journaling, that's when you write it down and you look back and say, okay, I remember I felt like I was on top of the world here. I could do that again.
It's like the most bipolar thing in the world, though, being a business owner.
Oh. Some days you're like, I'm never going to retire. And then you're like, fuck, I got to get rid of this company.
I felt that. I felt that.
Yeah. That is the way it works.
Yeah, but like, honestly, right? If somebody came to me today and bought Living College Station and bought Texas Media Foundry, and all I was doing was small business surgeon and just consulting, I think I'd make it about, I don't know, maybe 17 minutes, maybe 20 before I'm just running off and starting another business and building something else.
Because we're weird. We are weird like that.
I'm normal. I like business. I like building shit.
And it's totally cool.
You know?
A lot of people don't get that, though.
Like,
we're not normal, and that's cool.
If you sold Proline today, like, you would be restless by tomorrow afternoon.
Wouldn't work. No. It's the highs and lows and the...
Like, there's nothing like it.
We live off the adrenaline. Yeah, we get a little bit of an adrenaline rush, I think.
I think so. It's like... Man, it's like hunting. Like, once you catch that prey and you've cut it up and shared it out, like, it doesn't matter anymore. You just want to go hunt again.
You want to go
hunt again. You want to go catch more. You want to go sell more stuff. And it's like this addiction. And I understand why people fail at business, but I also understand why they never give up as well. It's like, all success in businesses, for me, it's just been failing enough times to figure out what to do right.
Never giving up.
Like, just not stopping.
Don't give up. The people who succeed are the ones that just are dumb enough to never give up.
Yeah,
we're like, it'll work out. It may take a while, and I may have to reformulate 1,000,001 times, but it will work.
I feel like Happy Gilmore someday, standing in front of that pitching machine. Better toughen up.
Try it again. Yep.
Damn. That poor guy. That must have hurt so much. All right. So, a little bird tells me that you have a book coming out in January. Is this true?
It's true. All
right.
It is true.
Tell me about your book.
It's called Build a Better Business.
Okay.
And it is how to work smarter, not harder. I'd like to say that you never have to work even after you build it all up, but that's not true. Well, there are business owners that do that, but then they end up losing their business for one reason or another, usually because their team everybody needs a leader.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the truth. You have to have a leader. So, it's super easy guide. I think it's maybe 100 pages. It's really short chapters, 7 chapters on how, no matter where you are, if you're starting or you've been in business 30 years, how to get yourself back on track. It's knowing your why, having your core values. I can go through each of them, but
let's do it really quick, because
knowing your
having a why was something I never had. Like, I'm just gonna go to work because I just want to work for myself. Well, when you do that, and again, this was late 20s, early 30s. I don't remember when it was, but when you do that, all you do is you achieve the goals that you set out for. I want to own my business so I don't have to work for anybody else. And you hit that goal, your business pays your bills, and you can't figure out why you don't make any more money than your bills.
Yep.
And it's because you don't have a why.
Yep.
Do you find that's like one of the most fundamental things that's missing here in entrepreneurs?
Yes. I had to think about it, because when I think about the Apex group, which is how you and I met, and the crowd that we run with, we all know our whys. We talk about our whys. We post about it. We have seminars. We have Zoom. We have in-person meetings. So we are already on top of that. But for the vast majority, yes. The knowing the why are you going to get yourself out of bed when you don't want to? I mean, like, let's take your body, for example. Why do you breathe?
You have to.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so why do you drink water or eat? You have to keep your body going, but you just know it.
Yeah.
Your body knows it. Your mind knows it. You're unconscious, so you just do it. You want to get your why to that point. Like, is it your family? Is it your spouse? Is it to leave a legacy? Is it so you are fiercely independent and no one can ever tell you what to do again? And whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It just needs to be a why that's important to you, that every day, and on the easy days, you pop out of bed and you're like, woo, we just closed $1 million deal yesterday. Life is awesome. I got this. We signed a contract with one of the casinos.
Dude, I love those days. I love those days. I love those days.
They don't happen all that often.
No, but dude, anything over 7 figures is a good payday.
So you've got all this stuff going on, and it's easy. And then you have the days where you're like, oh, for crying out loud, for the last month, no one's paying their bills. Oh. Nobody wants to pay me. Nobody wants to get out of bed and go to work. My sales team is whining. My office staff isn't having fun. But you have to lead. You have to lead. You have to run the boat, the ship, whatever metaphor you want. And so you've got to have that why ingrained. And I even have my clients write it down write it down and then review it every day so they remember why they're doing what they're doing, so that it becomes just so much a part of you that no matter what, you pop out of bed and be like, this is what's going to get done today.
You find people's whys ever change?
They can, absolutely. Everything in life evolves and changes.
Mine changed, Mine used to be, to leave a legacy and to set my kids up and to go to work, to give my life so that my kids could stand on my shoulders and my efforts and carry on what I was building. And then, that was a couple of years ago, and I'm doing real estate, and all I'm doing is selling houses. And then this Apex comes around, and this podcast idea comes up, and my why changed. My why changed from making money for my kids and stuff to now money just happens. Like money happens, it comes in. It's just there's a pipeline. My why is I struggled with alcohol and losing a business in my 30s, and when I consult with entrepreneurs, when I listen to them, and I find that a lot of them are going through that same shit. It's a pattern. You start to get a little success in your 20s, things get good, things get really good. You're going out to lunches, you're going out to dinners, you're drinking more, you're gaining weight, you're paying more and more attention to this business that you're growing, less and less attention to your wife, less attention to your kids, and before you know it, you're 33 to 37 years old, 50 pounds overweight, an alcoholic, and in a relationship that you can't stand or that she can't stand you. And I'm like, every single person I'm talking to is going through the same thing. So my why now has shifted to how much impact can I have on entrepreneurs that are going through the struggle that I've been through. And since I started diving into that and lifting other people up, my businesses have just become so much more successful and so much busier and so much. So the evolution of my why wasn't something I was expecting to happen. Is that something that you take people through and you'll find them that a year or 2 years down the line, they're like, well, wait a minute, maybe I'm going to pivot my why?
Absolutely. And there's nothing wrong with that. If anything in your business or in your personal life, it evolves, it changes, the experiences you have. And you actually, you touched on a great point, is for most people, I have not met anyone who's just all about the money, but for most of us entrepreneurs, they care about giving back. They care about helping their fellow man. People who've been like I've been through a lot in my life, a whole lot. And if I can help anybody else, everybody's got to go through their own struggles, but if I can help make it easier or give some different ideas or thoughts, of course I'm going to. Why wouldn't I?
That's because, in my opinion, it's because it's not generational wealth that you possess. It's wealth that you got out there and you waded through, like Andy Dufresne in Shawshank. You literally swam through a river of shit to get to the other side of that. And you turn around, you see people in that same river. So I've never liked rich people, to be fair. I'm blue collar. I'm pretty much a British redneck. And every rich person I'd ever met or ever interacted with, it was a generational wealth thing, and there was always a way to look down. And being in Apex, and I'm not trying to make this an Apex commercial, although it very well could be.
It could be, and you know what? There's nothing wrong with it because Apex is pretty darn cool.
Everybody I've met through Apex that is extremely wealthy or very well to do has made it themselves, and they have this giving spirit because they turn around, they're like, damn, that was a really hard journey, let me go help somebody that's on that journey. And I find that that's one of the big draws to Apex that has made me turn around and look at the people behind me and say, hey, I can pull these guys along and it not only not be detrimental to my business, but be advantageous to my business and to my soul. Do you find a lot of joy and fulfillment in helping people that are coming up?
Absolutely. I absolutely love guiding. You can't heal, but guiding people in any direction, pulling out the best, spending the time, giving the space to listen, to learn, to offer suggestions when they're welcome. The hardest part I found is you can't help people, though, who aren't ready to help themselves in any aspect of life. And we want to because we've been there, right?
Yeah.
So we're like, oh my God, if you would just do this, it would totally change your world. Oh, please just do this one thing. And they look at you and then they say, no.
That's the most painful thing in the world. Actually having to watch somebody struggle that isn't ready to receive a lesson.
Yep.
And I get, I've had guests on before saying, well, man, if I'd have only known this at 20 years old. And I counter that with shit. If I had this knowledge in this head right now at 20 years old, I wouldn't use it. No. I'd be like, well, that worked for him, but I'm going to get my own.
No, totally.
I'm going to get my own.
That crap. I'm still like, no, I know more than they do. And then I have to say, well, you might not.
I'm a little more hesitant to go off on my own these days. I have this amazing network of people I can counsel with, so why not? Why not pick up the phone and it's actually texting. But just, why not just drop somebody a message that got more experience than you? Like there's one thing I've found is if you put the work in, like anybody will help you. If you turn around and show that like I'm making an effort, it's like you break down at the side of the road. Was it Chris Rock said it? If you break down at the side of the road and you stand by your car, nobody will help. But if you get out and push, other motorists will jump out and push with you. They see you're trying, they see that effort, and they reward that effort. Man, so we got so sidetracked off that book. So
That's okay.
The first topic's finding the why.
We're good.
Talk to me, for those that are on a similar path. What was the process of putting a book together like for you?
Okay, so it was super easy because the book is based off of we did a 7-day Facebook Live challenge last year in Apex.
Yeah.
Apex.
It all comes back to Apex.
It comes back to Apex. I wouldn't have done it. So I did this challenge, and so I did 7 days, and so I picked 7 topics on business because I happen to know business fairly well, and I was comfortable with that topic. And then in January of this year, 2021, I decided, all right, I'm going to write a book. And I thought, well, I called it at the time 7 simple strategies to streamline your business. And so I started with that. We used the Facebook Live. I filled it all out. And then I realized I don't really want that title. So here's where I got stuck. I hired Bryan Wright to work with me in April of 2021. The book was done. The book was written by July. Completely finished.
Also an Apex member.
Yeah. In case anybody missed that, yeah. Anyway, the book was done in July. And since then, here's been the hard part. Here I think came my, what do they call it? Imposter syndrome.
Oh, yeah.
Here's where I'm like, oh my God, now it's going to be in writing. People are going to buy it. They have to buy it, right? I got to become a bestseller, so they got to buy it.
Yeah.
No pressure.
I'll buy it.
So they got to buy it. But my name's on it. It's out there forever. It's kind of like the video. I took that thing apart. Now, did I change most of it? No, not at all. It's still the same content. It's just like, was this word wasn't right? That word wasn't right. So I finally finished that part of it at the beginning of October because I wanted it to come out this year. Finished beginning of October. And then I changed the title. I think that's the 10th one. And I've changed every time I've changed it. I've changed the book cover. Like I have everything done. So anyway, long story short, wanted it to come out at the end of or at the middle of December just to get it done this year because it was a goal for this year.
Goal for the year, yeah.
Well, that's all off the table. So it's going to come out in January. It is done. The cover is done. We're doing the formatting right now, so it'll be out in January. All that to say, writing the book was easy because I had already set up what I wanted to do. It was the damn revisions after the fact, and I had to remind myself, imperfect action is better than perfect inaction all day long. And when I actually post it out on Facebook, which I'm going to do once I get this final, then I can't change the title, right? Once I put the book cover out to everybody on Facebook saying, hey, look for my book in January. I probably shouldn't change it at that point.
No.
Don't change the cover again.
We'll put it out. Don't change the title again.
Don't change the title. So I'm not changing the title.
I'm just waiting for somebody to come out with a better title than Thomas.
Yeah, his is good. Yeah, Thomas is awesome. Thomas is also in Apex.
Also in
Apex. In case you didn't know.
Can I get a royalty for Apex sales over here?
I know.
Like,
totally.
I got nothing.
You do have your tattoo, I saw though.
Oh, I have a FYE tattoo. Yeah, I'm part of the cult now.
I'm a pure blood all the way around. I got nothing.
We'll get you. I'll take you over my buddy right now.
Oh, there you go.
We'll get you inked at lunch. I mean, will that work?
Nope, crystals. We're doing crystals.
Oh, crystals, damn it.
I know. Don't think I forgot.
All right. Well, before we get too far away,
okay.
Man, it's I don't know if it's refreshing or if it's odd or if it's strange or if I don't have the right word. currently in my mouth. But for somebody as prolific as yourself to publish a book and still have imposter syndrome, tell me a little bit about how you get past imposter syndrome, because I'm past it and I've got a little method for it, but I know there's a lot of people on this show that listen to it that still struggle with, shit, I don't belong in this room. What am I doing here? So it's very strange and very refreshing to hear somebody as prolific as yourself say, hey, I still have this feeling. How do you cope with that?
Well, I rewrite the book a million times and then I change the cover. So you just gotta, for me, I power through and I remind myself that we all, I take it as a good thing. Honestly, I take it as a good thing, because I'm a pretty confident cat, but that imposter syndrome reminds me that I still have so much to do and so much to learn and so much to give and so much more to grow. I don't want to be that person ever who walks in and is like, yeah, my shit don't stink, I'm a badass, you gotta do what I want to do right now. Because those people, to me, are not attractive. No. And if I didn't have imposter syndrome, then I'd feel kind of like, oh gee, where am I now? Am I at that point where I don't care what anyone else thinks? Am I at that point where I don't feel like I want to grow and learn and improve? So that's kind of where I've stuck my head in, okay, this is a good thing, even though it's hard to get past, it's a good thing. What is I'd like to hear your strategy.
Like, how I get past imposter syndrome is like, if it's somebody that I would take criticism from, I would take it. But most imposter syndrome comes from criticism from others that's in your head, that you're worried about what they're going to say. So the way I deal with it, I found it when I had a car dealership many years ago. I was 31 years old, operating a car dealership, and some people give me shit for it, and I'm like, well, maybe I don't deserve this, or maybe I shouldn't be here. And like, all of a sudden one day it switched around. I'm like, well, hey, hold on a minute. I'm 30 years old, holding down a car dealership that's doing 7 figures in revenue, and where's your fucking car dealership? Where's your car dealership? Or, I'm a published author now. My name's Laurie. Where's your book? And then all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute. This isn't actually an accomplishment. This is something that it's something that can go on my record as something that I did, that I achieved, that none of y'all have done. So call me imposter all you want, but show me yours. And then when you turn it around like that, you find a lot of people just shut up because they don't have a book to show you that was a bestseller on Amazon. They don't have a car dealership. They can tell, well, here's the car dealership I built at 30 years old. They don't have that. So for me, overcoming imposter syndrome was like, look, I'm here. Here's what I've done to this point. If you can beat it, then teach me and I'll learn from you. And if you can't beat it, well, shut up. I belong in this room. It's mine. And man, Apex, like shit, I went in that room the very first time and I was terrified. I barely talked to anybody. And God, I've told this story so many times, but Adam Neese came up and it's like, come on, man, let me show you around. But until that point, I didn't feel like I deserved to be in that room. But then when I present my work and I put my things out, I lay them out on the table and say, here's my stuff. Like, wow, I do belong in the room, you see? And that's how I get over imposter syndrome is you show me yours, I'll show you mine, and I am open and ready to learn. And it vanishes at that point. So, yeah. All right, what else do we got to talk about? Where are we at? We're almost up on time. All right. Good Lord. That has flown by. I think I've checked it twice the whole time we've been in here.
You're like, I'm done with this conversation. Why are we talking about the metaverse? What just happened?
I don't want to be done with this conversation, but
we could really go off on some interesting tangents. That's for sure.
I wish we could. We'd have to put it on another episode. Yeah. Man, like I should just do like an episode where I bring like 4 Apexes in here and we just
we could just riff. It would be so much fun.
I bet a couple of them would be down for it. There's some of them down in Houston. We could probably get to come do that. All right.
Okay.
Before we wrap this up.
Yes.
Just tell us where people can find you on the internet, where they can follow you, where they can buy your fabulous products even.
Oh, well, if you want to buy Proline products, we would absolutely, for Proline, we sell business to business. So we it's all maintenance supervisors in hotels, apartments, school districts, cities, municipalities, golf courses, anybody with a building or equipment to maintain. We've got drain openers, lubricants, hand cleaners, safety solvents, a lot of PPE, hand sanitizers, all kinds of good stuff. and that's prolineindustrial.com. And that is, that's for that business. For
everybody
for me,
listening,
yeah.
99% of people listening are business owners. So
Yeah,
they could
and
all very well be your target market.
Yeah, or if they know someone in that industry, because we are nationwide and I've got sales reps everywhere. To reach me, it's Lori Rehn, Lori.
How do you spell your last name?
Rehn. And
How many times did I spell it wrong today?
I have 4 letters in my last name. Sam may not have spelled it correctly.
At all.
Just saying.
At all.
At all. But that's all right.
It's
we got it.
R-E-H-N.
Rehn.
My bad.
Yeah, that's cool. I'll let you slide today.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. And Lori Rehn on Facebook, Lori Rehn on Clubhouse, Lori_Rehn on Instagram.
Super easy to
Twitter
find.
is Lori Rehn 1. I think that's all I have right now. Is there something I'm missing?
No, we're going to build all of those into
Okay.
the show notes for you
Yeah,
too.
appreciate that.
Man, I do not want to cut this interview off, but time is up on us, man. I've had the most fun interviewing you, and in person is just
way
super.
better.
So, Laurie, thank you so much for being a guest.
Well, heck, I appreciate you having me on the show in person. Thank you.
No, it's been great. And guys, please go show Laurie some love. Follow her socials. And if you are in need of industrial products or a little bit of business consulting, please give her a call, look her up, and show her some love. And if you have enjoyed the show, do me a favor, drop a review, screenshot it, tag me in the comments, post it on your Instagram, all that good stuff. And we will see you the usual time for this week's Friday Fire. And you'll be good. Have a great week and stay safe. Laurie, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. But buy the book.
Oh.
Don't forget to say buy the book.
Buy the book.
In January.
Buy the book. We'll
2022.
put a link out for the book.
Okay,
Help,
thanks.
we gotta go. Let's go. We'll slice it there. That's fun. I gotta go pick my boy up from school. I gotta leave at 12:15.
Gotcha.
But if you want